It's another beautiful time to be with you on Candid Talk with Zainab Suleiman Okino, and we are pleased that you are doing well. Today, our topic for discussion is a bit disturbing, but necessary all the same. As always, I'm not alone in the studio. I have here with me a beautiful lady guest, a mother by the name Anne Daniel. She's the chairperson of the National Association of Women Journalists, FCT chapter. Anne, you're welcome to Candid Talk.
Thank you for having me. Good afternoon.
You're welcome. So if you have been following the trends lately, you should be aware of the story. Our topic is CHRISLAND school teenage sex scandal and the burden of parenthood. It's an uncomfortable topic to discuss, but if we are to prevent such things from happening in our society, we have to bring such to the front burner. Thank you so much for joining us. However, let's take a short break. We shall be right back. Stay tuned. Welcome back, viewers. You are watching Candid Talk with Zainab Suleiman Okino, and our guest today is Anne Daniel. Together, we shall be discussing CHRISLAND school teenage sex scandal and the burden of parenthood. I'm sure that it will be entertaining and there shall be valuable lessons for all of us to pick at the end of the show. Anne, once again, you are welcome to our program.
Thank you for having me.
So you're aware of the sex scandal involving teenagers of CHRISLAND school in faraway Dubai. Where did we get it wrong as a society, as a people? Is this not a moral crisis staring us in the face?
Thank you very much for having me. The issue here we're talking about is very, very worrisome. And as a nation, as a parent, it is not a thing that I will say we are looking at it with our eyes or with smile or with our eyes. It is a thing that has brought tears to many eyes. But in the first instance, I want us to get it very right and correctly, that the definition of those people concerned are children, as stipulated by the Child Rights Act that was passed into law in 2003. Their ages did not define them as teenagers. Their ages that we're talking about is 10. And if at the age of being a child, the Child Rights Act defines it to be ages 0 to 18, the group we're talking about here are children. It's so worrisome, it's so very, very unpleasant situation. Not where it happened, but the people involved in what has happened. It is a thing that every one of us, we need to rise to the situation. We need to call ourselves back again. What has happened to the African and our socio-cultural system that has brought about this? It is so, so worrisome because our moral system, our moral upbringing, it is way falling back in the society. And I will tell us that the parents and then every other parent needs to wake up to a clarion call that our children are on the verge of collapsing.
So I'm happy that you said we, and especially for us mothers. Do you think the mother of this girl involved actually did her job as a guide as a guardian and as a guide? And what do you think of the way she has been handling it ever since the news broke, ever since the escapade, the issue of the escapade, sexual escapade broke out?
The issue of blame, the game blame now, I don't want it to arise in this situation. For a mother, every mother wants to see that she's up to date with the upbringing of her child. And then if anything goes wrong, every mother feels disappointed in what has happened. We don't need to blame her right now, but deep inside of her, the mother now, I know she is feeling so bad as a mother, that with what has happened, if she had known, or if there were ways, she could have done it far better than what we have at hand. And then if you look at the society critically, what we have on ground, I'm not justifying any mother that goes out looking for the daily bread or what kind of survivor we give excuse to. But then the upbringing of a child, it is a two-way traffic. The role of the father, the role of the mother. Sometimes you look at it.
What about the school? What do you think about the school?
The school has a lot to do also. If we look at it, I always tell us that it is 50-50. There are things you will not be able to do.
For me, it should be at least 70-30.
70-30 something for the parents. But if you look at it, the hours the children spend with the parents at home is longer with the teachers.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. That's why I say it should be 70 for the parents.
70, no, for the teachers. In the morning, the children go to school from 8 a.m. Sometimes they are not even home till about 4 o'clock every day within the working week, except for weekend. And even the weekend, they have lessons. They are all on assignment. So you look at it holistically.
What about those basic lessons that we all got from our parents? Do we parents of today, are we actually given those lessons?
That is the aspect I want us to come back to. If we look at our socio-cultural system, what happens to our norms? What happens to our value? What happens to our cultural system? What happens to our belief? What happens to respect? These are encompassing that we need to talk about today. These things are eroding away. We begin to look, we have been looking at it, not beginning, we have looked at it to be archaic. Meanwhile, it has been a check over our children. It has been a check over the way our children relate even with the society. It has been a check that you look at it that you feel you are responsible for the growth of my child. I feel I'm responsible to the upbringing of your child. And the teacher himself sees himself as a father to the child, not what is happening today, that the teachers are all out for money, money. And then the parents too. We have a lot of issues that have now been pending that are challenged facing us. We are challenged by the way we behave in the society. And the way, like you asked, are we doing it right like our parents did before? I say no to it.
And that takes me to another question. We tend to spoil children with a lot of gadgets. Children are using iPhones worth 700,000 naira. At 10 years, between 10 and that 16 years, they've never earned money in their life. Why should parents, that's why I tend to blame the parents more. Why should parents spoil their children that way? What do we hope to achieve when you give such expensive gadgets, such sophisticated gadgets?
That I tend to agree with you. I tend to align with what you have said. For me, it is a total no and no. At age 10, when I'm to give my child, to expose a child to telephone or to the IT, you need parental guidance. Because without control in everything we do, we are getting back to catastrophe. Because if there is a control to what we do, I believe a 10-year-old child should have only a small phone that you can answer calls with. And then if there's...
Not Android.
Not Android at all. Not even to talk of iPhone. But we look at it that, oh, after all, I'm rich, I've made the money, I need my children to be... It is not. If a child needs to answer a call, there are even desktop that are still with all this facility. The child is only allowed to answer a call in the house. And then you want to expose this child to ICT, there is a desktop computer that he or she can equally use. And then using the modem in the house, No, I said to it that the father has to control, the mother has to control the things they do on the system. It is not allowed. I have not seen anywhere that a child at that age should be exposed to these sophisticated gadgets. Even in the white man culture that he brought these things to us, they equally control, they censor what their children do. So we should not be looking at it that after all I have money, I need to expose my child to this. You're looking at it that, oh, my child needs to be compliant, ICT. No, I say a no to those kind of things. A child should be a child. A child should grow up learning that I am a child. A child should be given the place of a child. They have their toys. Even the gadgets, we have the ones that are like toys, that we still expose them. We must not get the original things like that of an adult. Let them grow as children. And for every step, like the Child Rights Act stipulates, a child, a teen, like we are calling them teen, it is from ages 13 that they are teens. So these ones are just children that got themselves involved in this mess. And then it is a whole lot of blame on the part of parents and the school. They are not going to be exonerated out. But to me, I believe that at every stage, if you give your child an Android phone at 15 and you are still checkmating, fine. But at 10, it's a no, no, no. And then an iPhone, what does he need it for? What does she need it for? Is she advertising product? Is she marketing, or is she doing a kind of, what do they call this, a particular blogger or something?
She was actually advertising things, because if you see her blog, or she has about 20,000 followers.
That 20,000 followers that we claim she has on her bloggers, I want to believe the adults that are there are, I'm sorry to say, they are idiotic and stupid.
Oh, predatory adults.
Because this adults, I'm not supposed to be this thing, is annoying. It can happen to anybody's child. Oh. It can be everybody. It can be anybody. If you are truly a parent, why will you follow that kind of a platform? Why will you follow a child? If it is not that the child...
Is their age bracket that are following
There
them?
are adults.
Oh.
To what I read, there are adults that are following her blog. Because the analysis Tonto DK gave on it, I'm sorry to mention her name because I said I don't. I've not watched the video personally, but from the analysis from all the people talking about all of this, you hear adults analyzing what we are supposed to be crying over.
Yes, actually.
And then one of the things I look at the analysis with what we are doing, for the same other group of children who have this what do we call this? This Android and phone. This iPhone. There are bound to be those that will replicate what they are reading. And that is the danger we'll have ahead.
We would like to take a pause here a bit. Please don't go away, as we shall be back shortly. Welcome back. For those who are just joining us, this is Candid Talk with Zainab Suleiman Okino on Trust TV Abuja. And our guest today is Anne Daniel. She is the chairperson of National Association of Women Journalists, FCT chapter. Together, we have been discussing CHRISLAND school teenage sex scandal and the burden of parenthood. Now the conversation continues. Okay, so Madam, there are arguments about the acts being consensual, and that for that, there's an extent we should blame people who are making. There's an extent we should trade blames. But for a child who statutorily is what happened is considered a rape, considering what the law said and what the quotation you had before. So how do you see it? How do you see it in your own analysis?
The word consensual there, in the first instance, with the children, I don't think they even know the extent of what they did, because the people we're talking about, the concerned people here, have not known the definition of self, don't even know what they are doing. So consensual there is not a thing that we should even raise in this issue. For them, it was just like the higher adventure, because they just wanted to explore, the explorer, the higher explorer. They went on exploration. The issue there is this: when the girl in question, as read and as said, came from the 11th floor to the 4th floor where these boys were, the question I asked, where is the chaperone of her own room at that hour when she was going out?
No, but I understand when she first did that, the lady sent her away. Then she came back when maybe all was already quiet. And that's why some people say that she is not really a victim, because the act was...
That aspect, let's put some question. Let's get it straight. When she got to the 4th floor, the rooms where those boys were, who or where was the chaperone of those boys? They left them only like that, the boys? Another thing, when she came to knock on that door, where those boys were,
Where?
If they had collectively sent her away, I will have said there is hope for us. Because we'll have been looking at it that there are boys that have sent somebody away who has come in with a different mentality of what they are. She came in, there was somebody that was recording. It was like a masterminded thing that they knew they were going to do.
So, and that's why there's this other question about the whole blame being on the girl and the boy is left out. Is it because our system is built on a patriarchal system?
You look at
everything bad in the society.
The blame is always on a woman.
That's what I'm saying.
And today, we have the blame game again on a girl child. But the question there, the boy, at what age was he involved? At age 10. If to the way they analyzed and they were saying the boy was holding her waist, should it be this first time? What do we have out there? If this girl we are talking about that it is not her first time, then the boy in question, could this be his first time also?
Yeah, but you know, the society does not care about the boy.
Society does not care what happens to when a man is involved or a boy child is involved. And then can I even tell you about the Holy Book? Look at it there. The woman and the man committed adultery, but it was the woman that it was called to be stoned. So the two of them
here. That is why the emphasis is
still now on the girl. That is my worry, because the whole of it, the two children here, we need to sit up. These are children. It happened. Let any of them be well involved in the issue. It is not my business now. But it is equally the concern of everybody, all of us. We need to bring this, that our children are in a place where, in a situation where they watch what they see, they want to explore, they want to demonstrate and all that. So you don't know who is the next victim of this. But my concern, my worry, like I said, it is that children are involved. They are not even teenagers yet.
They're not.
They're not teenagers. They are children. They are involved. So my worry is not about the girl. My worry is not about the boy. My worry is that children are involved. I looked at it when we were 10 and all that, growing up in our localities, and the rain is falling. We come out naked. I happen to have a contemporary we grew up when we were bathing and all that. We are all grown up, doing well in our field of endeavors, and we just like, yes, when this issue came, he said, sorry to speak outside. Look at these children. When we were like them, what were we doing? I said, we were bathing naked outside.
We were enjoying our innocence.
And we were enjoying our innocence in our community. So we need to get back to the drawing board. Where did we get it wrong as parents?
Exactly.
Where did we get it wrong?
You're actually coming back to the point I made before.
Yes, from the beginning. Where did we get it wrong?
Something went wrong with the parenting of this girl. Maybe she was abused. She was already used to it. And I'm sorry, you said you didn't watch the video. If you had watched the video, maybe your thought would have been a bit different.
My school of thought concerning watching the video, I don't encourage looking at watching porn, especially if it has to do with
for the purpose of this discussion.
For the purpose of this kind of discussion, it will have given me the stronger alibi and insight to like talk about it. But then you mentioned something now that has equally raised concern about it. At what point did the mother lost watching over her daughter? At what point did we say she lost the virginity as a child? If we will look critically and analyze the way and manner at which people have been analyzing the situation, is like this child has been involved with an adult.
Of course. Looks so.
It looks so. So at what point? So the pedophile is seated somewhere because he's a man, and the girl, who is now a woman, is being abused.
Well, that takes me to another question. What about the role of the government in all this? I mean, the Lagos State government, in their knee-jerk reaction, closed down the school. And meanwhile, there are about 76 students involved, and I think only about 4 were involved. What happens to the progress, the educational progress of the remaining students? There are exams in sight. JAM is around the corner, and WAEC is being prepared for. So, I mean, government has something to do with this. What do you think? What the action that the government of Lagos State has taken so far, how appropriate is it?
If we look at our society critically, I will say our social media, in as much as it's a good thing, but has not helped matters. The rate at which they were calling out the school, the rate at which the social media, the Instagram, the Twitter, the Facebook and all that, were calling out the school to be shut down to do this, the government didn't have a choice. But the first, that is the first marathon approach to it was what they did. But looking at it deeply, about 76 children went on this assignment. Now, about 4 or 5 thereabout, I called on this scandal. Then, I believe or I expect the school should go further to investigate and give it out to the necessary authorities to do their work. But because a lot of things are involved, we talk so much. The same group of people that said, shut down the school, are the ones now that are calling for the reopening of the school because of the ones that are going to write exam. So it is not sometimes you begin to do the fire brigade approach when people
That's why I call it the knee-jerk reactions of government. Always, this is what happens.
That is always what happens. We just do it, fire brigade, this and that. But when you go deep into looking at what is happening, you find out that the action or what action, inaction, whatever, sometimes is not justifiable to read. These other ones need to write exam. These other ones need to go back to school. But with what has happened, get it again, that this is not the first time that these schools have been involved in this kind of arrangement. So that is one of the pointers that they look at it, that if it will continue, these other ones can be transferred to another place to write exam, and the school can be shut down. Because we cannot have a place called a school, a learning place, and then immorality takes over the situation.
Well, this is the first in the public glare anyway.
This is the first in the public glare, but some years, about 2 years ago, we had stories like that, but then it was not as strong as this.
Okay, well, the child is still a minor, and obviously she needs counseling and maybe psychological evaluation. So how do you think this should be done?
Very good. That is the aspect I am looking at. That is the one aspect I said, even to the boy, to the girl, they don't know the meaning, the magnitude of what they have done. Because if you ask them, they cannot even define it because they are minor in this society.
In this digital age, are you sure?
Yes. They only have the adult body, but the brain, the mind, the knowledge is still that of a child. In the next 10, 15 years, when you ask that girl what she has done, will she be able to really define and know the feeling at that time? At age 20, when a lady or a boy is involved in a relationship, they have better understanding to what they have done. My call to the general public is that we should stop this blame game of a thing. This girl needs counseling. These boys need counseling. They need to call them, both physically, morally, emotionally. They need to correct these people. Then the issue of castigating them. Do you know that the society, other children are looking at it, and they are going to be rebellious about it. How did they handle it? They begin to tell you they didn't manage it well. So my advice is that these people need help. All of them. The mother needs help. The mother to that girl needs help. In fact,
when I saw her on TV, she's disoriented.
She's already disorganized. Because the issue there, the names calling and all that, has not helped matters. We need to all go back to the drawing board and look at it. Where did we all miss it? I remember those days before. Your mom will not look at me that she will call me from my mother's house and send me on errand. And I will come back and nothing. That you misbehave even on the street. An elderly one is coming back, they pick a cane and flog you. When you get back home, he said, what happened?
That's why they say it takes a village to train a child.
Exactly.
So what's happening to that man? What is happening to
that? We are all on this parole of technology. I mind my business. I don't want what is happening in there, because our mind is already evil. Because for what has happened there, I know very well it is an evil mind that have introduced that girl. My concern, the adults there, it should be fished out. They should ask her. They should sit her down. She will tell who, during counseling, she will tell the story of how it got to this age. Yeah. And the boy, what exactly happened, at what point did a 10-year-old child will be responding to what they said?
Well, we pray we will never have to deal with a bad situation like this. So we have to leave now because time is not on our side. Please do join us again next week for another educating, entertaining, and informative package. Thank you. My name is Zainab Suleiman Okino. Do enjoy the rest of your day.